Don't waste your energy shouting at those who threw stones at you. Build something with the stones they threw. When someone betrays you, mocks you, or walks away when you needed them most, the world teaches you to fight back, to prove them wrong. But the Stoics, the ancient masters of self-mastery, taught something radically different, that the greatest revenge is not rage, not destruction, but elevation. They believe that nothing humiliates your enemies more than your peace. Nothing silences their gossip more than your progress. And nothing avenges betrayal more than your refusal to become like those who hurt you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. At first, it sounds weak until you understand what it truly means. It means that when people throw hate, you don't become hateful. When they try to poison your peace, you don't drink their venom. You don't let them rewrite your spirit." The Stoics were warriors of the mind. They faced death, loss, and humiliation, yet stood calm like mountains and storms. They understood that your peace is your sword, and once you master your emotions, no one can enslave you. Imagine someone who hurt you deeply. Maybe it was a lover who lied, a friend who vanished when you were struggling, or a family member who treated your dreams like foolish fantasies. You remember how it burned inside, how your chest felt like a furnace of anger and shame. That's the moment the Stoic principle comes alive, not in comfort, but in chaos. Revenge whispers, make them pay. Wisdom whispers, make yourself unshakable. So you rise, not with hatred, but with discipline. You learn, you grow, you evolve, you build a life so radiant, so filled with purpose, that it embarrasses those who ever doubted you. The truth is, your enemies feed on your reaction. Every time you respond with rage, you feed their ego. But when you keep building in silence, when they see you rising in peace while they drown in bitterness, that's when victory tastes purer. Let me tell you something about pain. It's not the enemy. Pain is your teacher. It trains you to become emotionally untouchable. It shows you who deserves access to your peace and who doesn't. Every insult, every rejection, every heartbreak, those are weights in your emotional gym. Lift them. Build strength through stillness. When they laugh at you, stay silent. When they gossip, stay focused. Because revenge through success isn't loud. It's consistent. It's waking up early while others sleep. It's working when no one claps. It's forgiving silently because you refuse to carry their poison inside you. Seneca once said, "He who is injured ought not to wish for revenge, but to avoid doing the same thing." You see, revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. But mastery is transforming that poison into power. Think about it. How many times have you replayed that betrayal in your mind? Over and over? You're not punishing them. You're reopening your own wound. Forgiveness, therefore, isn't weakness. It's deleting their access to your peace. You don't forgive them because they deserve peace. You forgive because you deserve peace. Revenge is temporary. Mastery is permanent. Because the fire of hate burns fast and dies. But the fire of discipline, it lasts forever. In the modern world, the real warriors are not those who throw fists or arguments. They are those who maintain emotional equilibrium while chaos unfolds around them. The Stoic doesn't say, "I don't feel pain." The Stoic says, "Pain will not dictate who I become." The best revenge? It's living so in tension. Ally that your success echoes louder than any insult they ever said. It's walking into rooms you once dreamed of and realizing the people who belittled you are now watching in silence. And you don't gloat. You smile not out of pride but peace. Because you didn't win through destruction. You won through evolution. You kept your soul intact while everyone else lost theirs. Let your results do the screaming. Let your progress be your comeback story. Because success doesn't require explanations. It speaks in silence. When they hurt you, they thought they broke you. But in truth, they built you. They gave you the reason to grow, to harden your discipline, to prove that you were made for something beyond their understanding. The Stoic doesn't chase revenge. The Stoic transforms pain into wisdom. And the world bows to those who master themselves. You must understand, every time you react to hate, you hand over your power. The wise don't respond to every bark. They keep walking toward purpose. The lion never turns when dogs bark. So when someone hurts you, don't fight for validation. Don't waste energy explaining. Just disappear, evolve, and return as someone unrecognizable. Not because of revenge, but because you outgrew the battlefield. When you're quiet, people mistake it for weakness. But silence, when it's built on self-control, becomes the loudest language of strength. You're no longer fighting to be seen. You're focused on becoming someone worth seeing. Because sometimes silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. The best revenge is never loud. It's living in peace while others drown in noise. It's smiling at the same storm that others fear. It's walking to the fire and coming out cleaner, calmer, stronger. So the next time someone betrays you, don't swear revenge, swear improvement. Don't promise to make them regret it. Promise yourself that their actions will never define your reactions. Revenge fades, character remains, and the quiet fire of self-control, it burns longer than any flame of hate ever could. In the late 1800s, a man named Nikola Tesla walked through the streets of New York City at night, alone, with lightning in his imagination. He saw energy not just in wires and machines, but in people. If you want to understand the universe, he once said, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. But what he understood better than anyone else was this: humans themselves vibrate. Our emotions, intentions, and thoughts, each carries a measurable frequency. And if you can sense that energy, you can, in a way, read minds. Tesla never meant telepathy like in the movies. He meant awareness. To read minds is to read energy, to sense the invisible waves that carry people's truth long before they speak it. He believed that every human emotion, fear, jealousy, love, excitement, emits a distinct vibration. When you learn to read those vibrations, you stop being fooled by words. You felt it before, haven't you? That instant when someone enters the room, and without a word, you can tell something's off. Or that strange comfort when a friend sits beside you in silence, yet you feel understood. That's energy speaking, the silent language Tesla lived by. He believed the human body is like a receiver and transmitter of energy. When you feel someone's emotions without them saying a word, your frequency has tuned into theirs. The untrained call it intuition. Tesla called it resonance. To read someone's mind, the first step is to see beyond words. Tesla observed everything. The flicker in someone's eyes, the change in tone, the tension in their shoulders. He once said, "My brain is only a receiver. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge." He was describing a form of deep awareness. Every movement, every blink, every hesitation reveals an internal storm. When someone speaks confidently but their eyes dart, they're not in truth. When someone laughs too loud, they're hiding insecurity. Observation is your gateway to invisible truth. The Stoics called this the discipline of perception. To see things as they truly are, not as emotions distort them. If you wish to read others, you must first calm your own mind, because a stormy sea can't reflect the stars. A noisy mind can't sense another's frequency. Tesla was a master of solitude. He lived alone, ate alone, walked alone, yet he was never lonely. He believed that solitude sharpens the inner ear. When you're comfortable with silence, you become sensitive to subtler things. Tone shifts, breathing, microexpressions, the language beneath speech. You start to notice when someone's "I'm fine" vibrates with sadness. When a friend's "I'll be there" carries hesitation. The truth hides in vibration, not vocabulary. To read minds, you don't stare harder. You listen deeper. You see, the average person listens to reply. The wise listen to feel. Tesla once described seeing flashes of light when he imagined ideas. That's the same heightened perception you gain when you align emotion and observation. You start seeing light in people's darkness. You sense what their words try to hide. Tesla said, "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all previous centuries." He meant the unseen realm, the field of thought and emotion that governs every human action. Every word you speak has an energetic echo. Every thought sends a signal. When you meet someone and suddenly feel drained, you absorb low-frequency energy. When you meet someone and instantly feel uplifted, your frequencies matched. You've read their mind by reading their vibration. You can practice this daily. Next time you enter a room, pause. Feel before you think. Does the room feel heavy or light? Are people speaking truth or wearing masks? The body knows before the brain admits it. That gut feeling is your receiver detecting frequencies faster than logic can interpret them. Tesla's entire life was built on tuning into frequencies others ignored. While the world saw wires, he saw invisible waves connecting everything. While others heard noise, he heard rhythm. He read energy, not emotion. And that's what made him prophetic. To read someone's mind, you must first understand yourself. The world is your mirror. The reason you can sense anger in others is because you've known it. You recognize fear because it once lived in you. Tesla knew this. That's why he said, if your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world. He wasn't mocking human weakness. He was showing us how powerful emotion is, how every thought creates current. When you recognize this current within yourself, you can see it in others without judgment. Empathy sharpens perception. So, when someone lies to you, don't just hear the lie. Feel why they lied. Was it fear? Shame? Pride? Once you understand the frequency behind behavior, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding wisely. You don't take things personally anymore. You read them as data. Tesla often paused before answering a question, as if waiting for invisible alignment. He said silence was his laboratory, where he decoded the noise of humanity. In your silence, you begin to notice what people say between words. You notice how truth trembles before it escapes the mouth. Your silence becomes power, because silence forces others to reveal themselves. They fill the space with their true intentions. That's why calm people are dangerous. They make the world speak. To read someone's mind, don't force revelation. Create stillness. Let their frequency expose itself. Words are smoke. Energy is fire. Tesla's method isn't mystical. It's mindful. It's not about reading thoughts like magic. It's about feeling alignment like music. When you enter conversation, you're entering a field of vibrations. You can sense dissonance or harmony. And through that awareness, you understand people's truth before their tongues can twist it. You don't need to be a genius to do it. You only need presence. Because every soul broadcasts constantly, and silence is the antenna. If you master this, you stop being deceived. You stop falling for false smiles. You see the truth, not through suspicion, but through resonance. The more peaceful you become, the clearer you perceive. And the clearer you perceive, the fewer illusions can survive around you. Every person on earth is fighting a war, an invisible one. It's not fought on a battlefield. It's fought in your mind, in your habits, in your decisions when no one is watching. This war is you versus you. And the weapon that decides who wins is discipline. Most people lose this war every morning. They lose it when they hit snooze, when they scroll instead of start, when they say, tomorrow for the 100th time. They lose because they believe motivation is enough. But motivation is temporary. It's a spark. Discipline is a fire that never dies. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't wait for inspiration. It shows up when you're tired, when you're angry, when your body screams rest. Discipline whispers, do it anyway. Let's be honest. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants greatness. But few are willing to pay the price. Because greatness costs something. Comfort. You can't become your highest self while living at your lowest standard. You can't win the outer world until you conquer the inner one. The ancient warriors knew this. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength. Discipline is that realization in action. It's self-control turned into a lifestyle. It's a refusal to surrender to your weakness. Every day, there are two voices inside you. One says, rest a little longer. The other says, get up. You said you wanted this. One says, you deserve a break. The other says, you haven't earned it yet. One fights for comfort. The other fights for freedom. That's the war you're in. And every decision either strengthens your weakness or your willpower. The weak voice wins when you listen. The strong one wins when you act. The problem isn't that you don't know what to do. It's that you don't do what you know. You've read the books, watched the videos, said the affirmations, but discipline is the missing link between knowing and becoming. You see, your body loves comfort, but your spirit craves growth. Discipline is the bridge between the two. It's how you tell your flesh, I'm in charge now. Discipline always demands pain. That's why most people never meet their potential, because they stop when it hurts. But pain isn't punishment, it's the test. When it burns, it's building you. No diamond shines without pressure. No warrior is made without wounds. No success comes without struggle. So stop asking, when will it get easier? It won't. You get stronger. That's discipline's promise. You can't become unshakable if you've never been shaken. You can't become focused if you've never resisted distraction. The war against you is designed to expose your weakness and then destroy it. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's lonely. It's quiet. It's doing reps when your muscles ache. It's working late when no one's watching. It's studying when the world is partying. It's saying no to pleasure because purpose is louder. The world may never applaud your grind, but your results will. Motivation is an emotion. It comes and goes like weather. Some days it's sunny. You feel unstoppable. Other days it rains. You feel numb, tired, disconnected. If you depend on motivation, you'll move like the wind, blowing wherever feelings take you. Discipline doesn't care about the weather. Discipline is a decision to act regardless of how you feel. Motivation is doing what's convenient. Discipline is doing what's necessary. Motivation says, I'll try. Discipline says, I'll finish. Every person who has achieved anything lasting, Tesla, Mandela, Washington, Jobs, Ollie, they all shared one trait, discipline. They didn't wait to feel like working. They worked until work felt natural. Every time you give into laziness, procrastination, or fear, you're training yourself to lose. You're programming your brain to accept mediocrity. And mediocrity is expensive. It costs your destiny. The war against yourself is the most important war you'll ever fight. Because the loser of that war becomes a slave to comfort. But the winner earns freedom. Freedom from excuses. Freedom from regret. Freedom from the haunting voice that says, you could have been more. Remember, the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards proof. And proof is discipline made visible. Every time you choose discipline, you earn self-respect. You begin to trust yourself again. You stop breaking promises to your future. You start saying, I'm not who I was yesterday. Discipline is not just about work. It's about identity. It's how you become who you say you are. When you choose the gym over excuses, when you choose reading over scrolling, when you choose effort over ease, you rewrite your story. And soon, discipline becomes your default. You start to crave progress more than pleasure. You no longer need people to push you, because your purpose pulls you. People mistake discipline for restriction, but it's freedom. It's not saying no to life. It's saying yes to your higher self. It's choosing peace over impulse. It's building habits that protect your potential. Discipline turns chaos into order. It turns wishful thinking into solid results. It turns the impossible into daily routine. When you master discipline, you stop needing validation. You stop explaining your grind. You understand that not everyone will understand. Because discipline isn't about being seen. It's about becoming unstoppable. The truth is, you will never always be motivated. That's why you must be disciplined. The war against yourself never truly ends. Every new level brings new temptations. More comfort, more distraction, more ego. But now you fight with wisdom. You know the rules. The old you is driven by impulse. The new you is guided by purpose. Each morning, when you rise before the world wakes, when you move while others hesitate, when you keep promises to yourself, that's victory. Not a grand one, a silent one. But silence is where power lives. So don't seek applause. Seek consistency. Don't chase perfection. Chase progress. Because every act of discipline is a declaration of war against the old version of you. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the war you fought wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to forge you. Some truths don't come softly. This is one of them. Not everyone will clap when you start to grow. Denzel Washington once said, "Not everyone who smiles at you is for you. Some people only love you when you fit inside the limits of their comfort." It sounds harsh until life teaches it to you. You'll chase a dream thinking everyone you love will be there cheering, sharing, believing. But the deeper you walk into purpose, the quieter the crowd becomes. And that silence, that's your real training ground. Because destiny is rarely a group project. It's personal. It's lonely. It's sacred. Every dreamer faces that moment when excitement fades and reality hits. You're walking alone. Friends stop calling. Family members doubt you. People whisper that you've changed. They say you're too focused, too obsessed, too serious. They can't see what you see. They don't hear what you hear. Because the vision was shown to you, not them. Denzel Washington once told a group of young actors, "If you hang around 5 lazy people, you'll be the 6. If you hang around 5 motivated people, you'll be the 6. He was talking about environment, but he was also talking about energy. Some people are not bad. They're just not built for your altitude. When you climb, the air gets thinner. Not everyone can breathe there. You must learn to accept that support is a blessing, not a guarantee. Many who start with you will not finish with you. That doesn't make them enemies. It just means your season's changed. When you start pursuing something extraordinary, you're really signing up for a test of faith. You'll have to believe in yourself when no one else does. You'll have to speak life over your dreams when the world is silent. People may call you crazy, unrealistic, delusional. They said that about every innovator who ever lived. They said it to Denzel, too. He once shared that when he told people he wanted to act, his peers laughed. They said, "Be realistic." But realism is often just fear dressed as logic. If Denzel had waited for validation, we would have never met Training Day or Glory or the countless characters that moved the world. The truth? Support is sweet, but self-belief is sugarcane. Once you taste it, you never go bitter again. You can't depend on applause to keep you moving. Applause fades. Conviction doesn't. So when the claps stop, keep walking. Because silence means you're entering a zone where only the disciplined survive. Every great journey passes through the valley of misunderstanding. You'll be judged for focusing, criticized for changing, misread for growing. People will say, "You're acting different." And they'll be right. You are. You're supposed to. You can't evolve and remain familiar. When a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, it goes into isolation, a dark cocoon. No applause. No validation, just transformation. Most people fear that darkness. But the cocoon is where you shed the weight of expectation. It's where you learn that the voices that doubted you were never your compass. You'll emerge lighter, sharper, hungrier. And when you finally fly, the same people who doubted you will say, "I always knew you could do it." Don't get bitter. Smile. Their doubt was your wind tunnel. It strengthened your wings. Denzel once said, "If I am to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith." That's the essence of independence. Trusting the invisible when the visible fails. The crowd gives comfort. Solitude gives clarity. When you walk alone, you start hearing your real voice, not the one shaped by trends, opinions, or fear. You discover your values, your vision, your why. The world conditions you to chase acceptance. Discipline teaches you to chase truth. If you depend on people to approve every move, you'll live as a reflection, not your own creation. Remember this. Support is seasonal, but self-trust must be permanent. Here's the strange part. When you finally begin to succeed, the silence doesn't always turn into support. Sometimes it turns into envy. Some people don't hate you because you failed. They hate you because you didn't. Your success reminds them of the risks they never took, the discipline they never practiced. That's why Denzel warns, ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. When things get comfortable, people stop growing. And when you keep growing, you become a mirror reflecting their stagnation. Don't internalize their discomfort. It's not your responsibility to shrink to fit someone else's comfort zone. Your light was never meant to make others feel safe. It was meant to show what's possible. So keep shining. Even if they shade you, glow anyway. If you expect universal support, you'll live perpetually disappointed. You must learn to listen selectively. There are three kinds of voices in life. The voice of encouragement, treasure it. The voice of correction, respect it. The voice of destruction, ignore it. Denzel once told graduating students at the University of Pennsylvania, without commitment, you'll never start, but more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. He didn't say, without approval. He said, without consistency. The people who matter will correct you, not crush you. The ones who mock you were never meant to mentor you. Discern the difference. Don't confuse noise with guidance. Modern culture worships numbers, likes, shares, followers. But Denzel reminds us that success is not a popularity contest. It's a purpose contest. You don't need millions of fans. You need alignment with your calling. He said it best. Put God first. Everything I have is by the grace of God. Faith is a quiet fuel that replaces support. When no one claps, faith claps for you. When doors close, faith builds new ones. In those lonely nights when doubt creeps in, remember why you started. Remember that the world often recognizes the great only after they're gone. So don't work for recognition. Work for legacy. Faith teaches you patience. The world may not understand you now, but purpose always reveals itself in time. Isolation isn't punishment. It's filtration. As you grow, people fall away, not because you're cruel, but because vibration changes. Some relationships were built on convenience, not connection. When purpose demands sacrifice, convenience collapses. Let it. Every person who leaves creates space for alignment. You'll meet new allies on a higher level. People who speak the language of growth, not gossip, progress, not pity. The higher you go, the fewer the voices, but the truer they become. Don't mourn the crowd. Celebrate the clarity. A big vision is heavy. It will exhaust you, confuse you, even isolate you. But that burden is proof that you've been chosen for something uncommon. Denzel once said, dreams without goals remain dreams. Goals require focus, and focus often looks like loneliness. You can't build something extraordinary while constantly checking if others approve. True builders keep their heads down. They let the finished structure speak for them. So when you're misunderstood, when people withdraw, when you feel unseen, understand, you're not being punished, you're being prepared. The universe removes distractions before elevation. The silence that once hurt you can become your sanctuary. Use it. Create in it. Train in it. When Denzel rehearsed lines, he often did alone, repeating them hundreds of times until they lived inside him. That's discipline. That's ownership. When you stop needing external approval, your confidence becomes internal. You no longer chase, you attract. The absence of support can teach you something applause never will. Self-validation. You learn to say, I am proud of me, even when no one else does. That's real freedom. Rejection is not the opposite of success. It's part of curriculum. Every no teaches you something that yes never could. Resilience. Denzel shared that he auditioned for multiple roles early in his career and was turned down again and again, but each failure taught him timing. It refined his hunger. When people say you're not good enough, thank them. They're not judges. They're reminders that you're building endurance. Support will come when it's supposed to, but it should never be your oxygen. The applause of others can't sustain you. Only the conviction inside can. There will still be a handful of people who believe in you from day one. Cherish them, protect them, but never depend entirely on them. True supporters don't just clap when you win. They correct you when you drift. They pray for you when you're silent. If you have even two of those people, you are rich. Everyone else? Bless them and release them. Your destiny doesn't require the whole world's support. It requires your unwavering obedience to the call. One day, you'll look back and realize why support had to be scarce. Because if everyone had believed in you, you'd owe everyone credit. But when few did, you learn to give glory where it truly belongs, to God, to grit, to growth. You'll understand that the loneliness was necessary. It taught you humility, authenticity, resilience. Denzel said, fall forward. It means even when you fall, let it be toward progress. Let your failures face the direction of faith. So when you rise, and you will, remember those quiet nights, those unseen struggles. They made you real. They gave you depth. They separated the dreamers from pretenders. In the end, success without character is noise. Support or not, you must remain grounded. Denzel's life reminds us that integrity outlasts applause. He doesn't chase fame. He chases impact. He said, "At the end of the day, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about who you've lifted up, who you've made better." That's legacy. And legacy doesn't require everyone's support. It requires your consistency, compassion, and courage. The road to greatness will test you in isolation. People will doubt you, ignore you, even mock you. But remember, every legend once walked that same lonely path. Don't beg for belief. Become undeniable. Don't chase validation. Chase purpose. Because when purpose speaks, even your silence becomes sermon. And when your time comes, the same people who left will see that the absence of support didn't kill you. It carved you. So walk forward, alone if you must. The crowd will catch up later. Until then, keep moving. Keep believing. Keep building. Because not everyone is meant to support you, but everyone will witness what happens when you support yourself. The most dangerous person isn't the loudest in the room. It's the calm one. Because calm means control. Control means strategy. Strategy means power. When you remain calm while others panic, you see what they can't. When you stay still while others rush, you act with precision instead of emotion. Denzel Washington once said, "Don't confuse movement with progress. You can run in place and get nowhere." That's what stillness teaches. Motion without direction is chaos. Stillness creates direction. So while others sprint in circles, the still person walks forward slowly, deliberately, consistently, and eventually silently wins. The world teaches you that strength is loud, that power is visible, that to be strong, you must dominate, argue, and demand. But real power doesn't perform. It persists. A mountain doesn't shout to prove its height. The ocean doesn't roar to prove its depth. They exist in quiet dominance. That's stillness. When you stop performing, you start becoming. You realize that real confidence doesn't need validation, and real peace doesn't seek attention. Stillness makes you magnetic. People can feel your energy, your stability, your quiet authority. That's why great leaders speak slowly. That's why wise people pause before replying. Because silence is not empty. It's loaded with presence. Stillness makes people uncomfortable because it reflects their chaos. Your calmness exposes their noise. Your control highlights their instability. That's why some people will try to provoke you. Not because they hate you, but because your peace reminds them of their lack of it. Don't take it personally. Their need for noise is a confession of inner unrest. You, on the other hand, must protect your calm like a crown. Not every battle needs your sword. Some battles end faster when you stop swinging. Stillness is your shield. When life hurts, our first instinct is to move, to fix, to fight, to fill the silence with distraction. But healing doesn't happen through motion. It happens through stillness. Sit with the pain. Feel it fully. Observe it without judgment. Pain loses power when it's witnessed calmly. That's how meditation works. You watch your thoughts like clouds, drifting across your sky of awareness. Stillness transforms pain into wisdom. Every heartbreak, every loss, every failure, once faced in silence, becomes a teacher. That's why monks smile after tragedy. That's why survivors glow after storms. They learn to sit in their own darkness until they found light inside it. Between every event and your reaction, there's a pause. That pause is where life is decided. You can use it to lash out or to breathe, to react or to reflect. The Stoics believe that this pause is where humanity is born. Animals react instantly. Humans can choose. That pause is your power. And the more still you become, the larger that pause grows until nothing external can force you into chaos again. Imagine arguing with someone who refuses to argue back. Imagine being insulted and responding with a calm smile. Imagine losing something valuable and saying, "It's not gone. It's returning in another form." That's not weakness. That's evolution. Stillness doesn't shout lessons. It whispers them. It teaches patience. It teaches timing. It teaches faith. It teaches that not every door needs to be kicked open, some open by waiting. It teaches that not every truth must be spoken. Some are proven by living. It teaches that not every pain requires revenge. Some are healed by distance. The person who learns this becomes untouchable. Not because life stops hurting, but because hurt no longer controls behavior. We've built a world that hates stillness. We call it boredom. We fill it with screens, music, scrolling, endless stimulation. We think silence means something's wrong. But constant noise is what's wrong. We fear being alone with ourselves. Yet that's where all answers live. Every time you escape stillness, you delay your growth. Every time you face it, you return stronger, clearer, lighter. Because stillness is not empty time. It's the furnace where wisdom is forged. Stillness doesn't mean you don't act. It means your actions come from alignment, not anxiety. When a martial artist fights, they don't flail, they move with precision. When a master painter creates, they pause before every stroke. When a wise person speaks, they weigh every word. That's stillness in motion. Calm outside, lightning inside. The calm sea hides the deepest power. Stillness and attachment are twins. When you detach, you stop clinging to outcomes, people, and opinions. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care wisely. You give your best, but don't beg for control. You stop chasing validation because peace matters more than praise. You stop fearing failure because learning matters more than reputation. When you master detachment, no one can manipulate you. They can't bribe you with flattery or break you with rejection. You become self-contained, calm, stable, centered. And that's when you finally win the war against the world. When it can no longer pull your strings. Stillness changes how your energy feels. People sense it. They can't explain it, but they feel safer around you. Your presence calms rooms. Your words cut through noise. You start leading effortlessly, not through authority, but through gravity. Because people follow stability in an unstable world. That's the secret every great leader knows. Stillness is influence. It's why Martin Luther King Jr. could move crowds with measured pauses. Why Mandela's calm smile shook systems. Why Denzel Washington's quiet confidence commands rooms without shouting. Their stillness carried weight. Revenge used to mean proving them wrong. Now, revenge means proving yourself right. Quietly. They expected you to break. You stayed calm. They expected drama. You gave silence. They expected reaction. You offered grace. That's the ultimate revenge. Becoming so centered that their chaos can't reach you. Peace is the loudest clapback. You don't need to announce your growth. They'll feel it when their words no longer shake you. You've outgrown the battlefield. You've left the noise behind. And when they look for you in the old fight, you'll be too still, too high, too far. Stillness is not something you find once. It's something you practice forever. It's the daily ritual of returning to yourself. You lose it sometimes. We all do. You get angry, distracted, anxious. But each time you return to stillness faster. Each time you remember who you are. That's the essence of mastery, not perfection, but return. The monk sitting in silence isn't trying to escape life. He's training for it. The calm person in chaos isn't lucky. They're disciplined. Stillness is a skill. And like any skill, it grows through repetition. It doesn't react. It reigns. And when all the noise of the world dies down, the last sound left standing will be the quiet rhythm of your unshakable soul.